God will always remain the ultimate protector of his children. Yet many people do not realize that spiritual battles often begin right at the doorway of their homes. Before the enemy tries to disturb your peace, he studies your entrance. That place where you walk in and out each day is more than just wood and concrete. It is a spiritual passage. What rests at your doorway in the spirit determines what enters your house in the natural, physically, emotionally, and even financially. If you have been sensing a strange heaviness, sudden confusion, or arguments happening in your home without reason, then you must ask yourself, what is sitting at my door? Most people assume witchcraft shows up with dramatic signs, with loud noises, flying objects, or frightening creatures. But in reality, spiritual attacks are often quiet and subtle. The enemy works with strategy. He makes use of legal entry points, places that allow him to walk in without resistance. One of the most ignored places is the front door. When your doorway is left spiritually unguarded, you are unknowingly giving demonic powers and witches free permission to step into your life. Have you ever had someone visit your house and shortly after they left, everything began to go wrong? That is not just bad luck. It could be a spiritual deposit that was left behind at your entrance. There is something ancient, powerful, and holy that can stop this. It is not costly, it is not complex, but it is deeply spiritual. For generations, people of God have used this practice to protect their homes from witchcraft. They did not just pray inside. They acted at the gate before the battle entered. They stopped it before it could cross the line. We often anoint ourselves, our children, our beds, and even our food. But many forget the doorway. That is the hidden trap. The enemy knows you pray over your health, your money, and your body. But how many people pray over their doors? How many actually sprinkle divine protection at the threshold, declaring, "No curse shall cross this line"? That is what this message is about. It is a revelation of what must be done quickly to stop witchcraft before it can step in. Once you learn this, you will never again leave your doorway spiritually uncovered. Think about this. Have you ever found strange items outside your home? Maybe ashes, oils, cracked eggs, or powders you could not explain. Have you seen unusual animals hanging around your entrance? Or walked outside only to come back feeling weighed down by heaviness you could not shake? These are not coincidences. They are spiritual signs that someone has targeted your home. The only way to block such attacks is to understand the power of spiritual sprinkling. It may sound simple, but it is holy, it is biblical, and it works. If you are hearing this message, it is because you were meant to. Your spirit has been searching for an answer, and God is giving you one. The enemy will not stop trying to gain access, but he cannot come in unless access is given. I am here to show you how to deny that access by taking authority over your doorway. There is something that must be sprinkled, not carelessly, but with prayer, intention, and power. Once you do it, you will see changes. Do not make the mistake of underestimating small spiritual actions. Just as a single drop of oil can break strongholds, one handful of blessed salt or sanctified powder can cancel the plans of darkness. The Bible is filled with examples where physical acts were used to bring spiritual victory. Why should today be any different? The enemy already knows this truth. That is why witches leave powders, oils, or strange items at doorways. But now you will learn how to reverse it. You are not weak. You are not defenseless. You have only been unaware, but God is awakening you now. The chaos, sudden sickness, and unexplainable spiritual attacks in your home are connected to boundaries left unguarded. but it stops now. It ends today. This is not just another message. This is a divine instruction, and when you act on it, heaven will back you. The doors that were once open to darkness will be closed permanently. So here is the question you must ask as we go further. What is sitting at my doorway spiritually? Is it a blessing or a curse? Is it protection or exposure? If you have never sprinkled anything consecrated at your front door, then this word is for you. If you have felt that something is wrong in your home but could not explain why, this is your confirmation. You are about to learn a spiritual key the enemy never wanted you to know. In ancient biblical times, the doorway was never seen as ordinary. It was treated as sacred. It was a place of covenant, a place where blessings were declared, and where blood was sprinkled for divine covering. When the Israelites were in Egypt, the instruction was not to run away or to hide. It was to mark the doorway. Why? Because that was the dividing line. That was the boundary that declared, no evil shall cross here. Today, many pray inside their homes, but overlook the entrance. Yet that is the very place the enemy studies. In the days of old, elders would guard the gate and decide who could enter and who could not. The entrance was respected. Even strangers who came had their feet washed before stepping inside. It was not just hospitality, it was spiritual discernment. They knew what entered their homes spiritually mattered. Today, people open their doors carelessly. They let in people, energy, and spirits without guarding the threshold. And that is where destruction often begins. When God gave commands about building homes or temples, he paid attention to the entrance, the doorposts, and the thresholds. Those details were not for decoration. They carried spiritual meaning. A marked doorway spoke protection. It spoke authority. Evil spirits could not cross certain consecrated thresholds. If your entrance is just ordinary to you, then to the enemy it is wide open. Scripture shows us many moments where blessings were placed at doorways to invite favor and to block judgment. In the spiritual world, your doorway speaks. It either declares protection or it silently invites what is unclean. A protected home cannot be freely touched by witches or curses. The problem is that many households leave their doors spiritually silent. They never speak to it. They never guard it. And the enemy takes advantage of that silence. Here is one of the strongest principles in Scripture. Whatever is not covered will be claimed. If your home is not spiritually marked, then witches and spirits will claim that entrance. That is why they leave items there. They are trying to mark territory. But God never told his people to run in fear. He told them to take action, to anoint, to sprinkle, to declare. Think of it this way. Every person who walks through your door leaves a spiritual trace. Some bring peace, others bring jealousy, curses, or hidden darkness. You may not see it with your natural eyes, but you will feel it. It shows up as confusion, delay, strange dreams, and sudden problems. That is why sprinkling protection at your doorway is not just important, it is urgent. The battle is not only outside, it is seeking a way in. When you treat your entrance as a holy place, things shift. Your home becomes more than a shelter. It becomes spiritual territory. You rise up as the gatekeeper. You decide what enters. You declare, no curse, no witchcraft, no spirit of darkness will cross this boundary. This is not superstition, it is revelation. It is the same strategy that guarded generations before us, and it still works today. We must stop underestimating the power of the threshold. It is the line between your sanctuary and the outside world. That is what the enemy aims for. He does not need to break in physically. He only needs spiritual access. Once he has it, your sleep is disturbed, your prayers feel blocked, and your family suffers under unseen pressure. But today, God gives you a key to reverse it all. It begins with the door. This message is not for casual listening. It is not for entertainment. It is empowerment. It is a holy solution wrapped in something simple, a spiritual act rooted in righteousness. It is not about empty tradition. It is about revelation. If the unseen world respects marked thresholds, then you must rise and mark yours. Do not wait until chaos breaks in. Seal the gate now, sprinkle the blessing, declare the covering, draw the line. There is authority in spiritual symbols that human logic cannot explain. That is why this act of sprinkling, though it may appear small, is enormous in the spirit. It declares loudly to every dark power, this house is covered, this threshold is sealed, no evil shall cross here. The realm of darkness says, this house is not empty, this house is not uncovered, this house is sealed. And when your entrance is spiritually guarded, every plot of the enemy that tries to step in will be pushed back, not later, not next week, but instantly. Witchcraft does not always appear in loud or dramatic ways. Often it slips in through simple dust left at your doorway, powders scattered on your step, or curses whispered quietly as people pass by. These things may look random, but in the unseen realm they are calculated. The enemy uses visitors, strangers, delivery packages, and even common foot traffic as carriers of spiritual pollution. That is why the Bible warns us to be careful about who we let through our gates. The enemy wears the mask of ordinary, but his goal is always invasion of the spirit. In many battles, the first signs begin at the entrance. You may suddenly notice odd smells at your door, unusual swarms of insects near your threshold, or an unexplained chill every time you walk past. These are not always natural. They can be signals that something has been planted. Some witches pour cursed liquid near your step. Others bury objects in your yard. They don't need to cross into your living room. Touching your doorway is enough to stir spiritual conflict. Have you ever received visitors who linger too long, wander near your door, or seem more interested in scanning your space than in actually talking? Some are sent to spiritually observe. Their assignment is to find an opening, a weakness in your guard. They may act as friends, neighbors, or helpers, but in reality, they are watchers in human form. They walk by your home, collect dust on their shoes, and take pieces of your covering with them. That is how witchcraft begins, silently, legally, and right at your entrance. In other cases, it is not about strangers at all. It is about what you allow inside spiritually. If your home is filled with bitterness, anger, or unconfessed sin, the doorway is already open. You unknowingly left the gate unguarded. Once the enemy senses that, he doesn't knock politely. He walks in and plants confusion, plants fear, plants delay. Soon you begin to lose things. Money slips away, peace fades, children rebel, and you keep asking God why life feels upside down. But it started at the door. The enemy knows that once he crosses your threshold, the fight becomes more difficult. That is why witches focus on entrances. They throw objects, they spit curses, they draw invisible marks. Some even blow incantations into the wind, hoping the breeze will carry them to your step. And if you haven't marked your entrance with prayer, those curses fall. They land and remain until they show up in your life as sickness, confusion, poverty, bad dreams, or heavy fear. Some of you clean your floors, polish your windows, spray perfume in your house, but you never cleanse your threshold. Yet that small space between outside and inside decides whether blessings flow in or curses settle in. If you don't treat it as sacred, the enemy treats it as a target. And the painful part is, you end up blaming your children, your boss, or your health without seeing that the battle started at your doorstep. Witchcraft is not a game of chance. It is a system. It uses timing, openings, and access points. And the easiest part of any home to access is the doorway. That is where attacks gather. That is where blessings either come in or get blocked. If someone with evil thoughts leaves something small at your step, maybe a wrapper, a charm, or an unusual object, the energy around your home changes. Suddenly, the atmosphere feels different. That is not your imagination. That is spiritual intrusion. Remember, each time you leave your home, your doorway is making a statement, and each time you return, you bring back what was waiting for you at the gate. This is why spiritual people keep sprinkling at the entrance, not once but again and again. They keep the energy clean. They declare with power, "No weapon formed against me will prosper, not even at my doorstep." This is not religion. This is wisdom, and it is time you walk in that wisdom. The enemy often uses familiar ground to launch unfamiliar attacks. He doesn't always need a witch doctor. Sometimes it is a jealous neighbor, a bitter friend, or a stranger secretly sent. They don't break in through the window. They simply curse the entrance. And if you haven't prayed and sanctified that ground, then your home becomes a battleground without you realizing it. But today, ignorance must end and action must begin. Now that you know the enemy's doorway strategy, you can't stay neutral anymore. You must rise and take your position as the spiritual watchman of your home. You must stand at your threshold and declare that from now on, no witchcraft, no curse, no evil will cross this gate. You must sprinkle with boldness, speak with fire, and claim your door as holy. Once you do, everything that has been waiting at your step will scatter. Now that you know how witchcraft works at the entrance, it is time to act to block it. This is not just about wishing or hoping. This is about deliberate spiritual action, and one of the oldest yet forgotten actions is sprinkling. This is not a trend. This is an ancient practice, a prophetic act, a declaration of faith. When it is done with the right items and prayer, it sets a barrier that no curse, no witch, no demon can cross. But the strength is not in the items themselves. The real power is in the faith and meaning behind the act. The first element used for centuries to guard the doorway is salt. Not just any salt, but clean, coarse salt prayed over and set apart. Salt stands for covenant, purity, and preservation. When you scatter salt at your threshold, you are declaring that your house is sealed by divine protection. Witches know the force of salt. That is why they avoid it. Laid down in faith, salt becomes a line spirits cannot pass. Another strong item is ashes. Not ordinary ashes, but the remains of burned prayers, incense, or holy herbs. Ashes symbolize sacrifice completed. When you burn things like frankincense, myrrh, bay leaves, or rosemary, and keep the ashes, you hold the residue of prayer fire. Sprinkling those ashes at your doorway means the fire of God is already standing there. Evil cannot rest in that place. It feels the heat and flees. Then there are bitter herbs. These include dried rosemary, rue, hyssop, or bay leaves. Such herbs have been used through scripture and by elders for cleansing and guarding. Crushed together, they form a holy powder. When scattered on your threshold, they act as repellents. Unclean spirits dislike bitter herbs. They stand for purification and rejection of evil. When laid down in faith, curses reverse. You can even prepare a protection mix, blending salt, ashes, and herbs. Pray over it, speak words of authority, and keep it in a jar for regular use. Every time you sprinkle it, declare boldly, "No curse will enter. This house is covered. Let the blood of Jesus speak at this gate." The unseen realm responds to faith-filled words. This act builds a wall spirits cannot cross. Remember, it is not the objects that protect, it is your faith. That is why some try sprinkling but see no result. They do it out of fear, not understanding. But when you act with revelation and authority, the enemy has no chance. You are not playing with herbs or dust. You are setting covenant in motion. You are calling heavenly armies to guard your door. You are declaring to the unseen, "I am awake, I am guarded, I am covered." Timing is also important. Sprinkle at midnight, the hour when spiritual deals are made. Many curses are released at this time, but prayer is also most powerful then. Sprinkle as you pray out loud. Walk slowly, step with purpose. Start inside, moving out. End by shutting the door and declaring, "No entry for darkness, only peace lives here." Do this for 3 straight nights for strong effect. Another key time is at sunrise. As the day breaks, so do curses. Sprinkling at dawn sets the day under light. Darkness hates the rising sun. When you sanctify your threshold as light enters, you say in the Spirit, "As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord, and no darkness shall succeed here." Repeat this weekly, or as often as the Spirit leads. Consistency builds strength. There is no need to explain to neighbors. This is not for their eyes. This is for your protection. It is not just natural, it is meant for the supernatural. While others are sleeping, complaining, or allowing fear to control them, you are choosing to walk in authority. The act of sprinkling may appear silent in the physical world, but in the spirit it makes a mighty sound. Demons will notice it. Angels will honor it. Witches will avoid it, and your home will shift from being a battlefield to becoming a place of rest. Do not allow pride or doubt to stop you. Some people may say this is too much or unnecessary, but the real question is, how much are you losing by doing nothing at all? How many attacks could have been avoided if the doorway had been guarded in time? God gave us spiritual tools, not to sit as decoration, but to be used. The oil, the salt, the ashes, the herbs. They are reminders of covenant and authority. Use them with understanding. Use them with prayer. Use them with confidence, and you will see your doorway become a shield. Begin by preparing yourself in spirit. This is not something you should rush through or do while distracted. Set aside a moment to be still before God. Repent for any open doors in your life, anger, fear, bitterness, or unforgiveness. You cannot lock your physical door while leaving your spiritual life wide open. Ask for the presence of God to fill your home. Anoint yourself first. Pray over your items and declare aloud that this act is for divine covering, not for superstition. Your authority must flow from purity and from clear intention. Next, take your mixture, whether salt, ashes, or crushed herbs, and hold it in your hand or place it in a small container. Speak words of purpose over it. Declare what it now represents. Say something like, "This is no longer just ordinary material. This is now a spiritual shield. As I sprinkle it, I cancel every curse, block every arrow of witchcraft, and silence every monitoring spirit. My home is a house of peace, and I claim it under the power of God." Do not whisper weakly. Speak with boldness. The unseen world responds to strong declarations filled with faith. Now begin sprinkling. Start from inside your doorway near the base and move outward. If you have a porch or steps, sprinkle along the path where feet usually step. Move from one side of the threshold to the other. You can sprinkle in a straight line across the entrance or in a circle, depending on what you are led to do. As you sprinkle, keep speaking life, peace, and protection while warning unseen enemies. Say out loud, "This is holy ground, no darkness shall pass." Understand that sprinkling is not the final step. It is only part of a spiritual wall of defense. Once you sprinkle, continue to support it with constant prayer. Spend time in worship. Keep your home free from fighting, bitterness, and pollution. Some sprinkle in the morning, yet allow unclean things through negative shows, music, or toxic people. Guard both your physical door and your spiritual atmosphere. An anointed doorway will not stand if the rest of the house invites evil. Do not just sprinkle once and walk away forever. Make it a routine, weekly, every 2 weeks, or whenever your spirit is led, especially after suspicious visitors, troubling dreams, or moments when your spirit feels unsettled. This will keep your house under constant spiritual watch. Think of it the same way you sweep away physical dust. Just as natural dirt builds up, spiritual residue builds up too. By keeping your threshold clean, you prevent the enemy from finding a place to rest. There is also power in sweeping before sprinkling. Take your broom and sweep the area as if you are removing hidden spiritual trash. As you do, speak out loud. I sweep away every curse, every trap, every hidden work of darkness at my gate. Let every evil plan be scattered in the name of the Lord. After sweeping, do your sprinkling. This 2-step action carries both physical meaning and spiritual weight. It sends a firm message. This area is guarded, and no evil is welcome here. If you live in an apartment or share a hallway, do not be troubled. You can still sprinkle quietly at the line of your door. Even a small strip across the frame carries power. The strength is not in how big or public the act is. It is in the faith behind it. Even a few grains, when prayed over and declared, can stand as a barrier that blocks any unwanted spiritual visitor. You can also prepare spiritual water, such as salt water that has been prayed over, or herb-infused water, and lightly flick it at your entrance before or after sprinkling the dry mixture. This seals the work. It joins cleansing and guarding together. As you flick, declare, "Let the fire of God burn every plan of the enemy. Let no curse enter here. Let peace remain in this home from this gate forward." Do not forget the back doors, side doors, or windows. Any place that can be entered in the natural can also be entered in the spirit. Walk around your property, speaking over every entry point. If someone has stepped at your porch with evil in their heart, the sprinkling will send that curse back. If someone tried to speak death over your home, your declaration of life will stop it at the gate. The enemy cannot succeed where the threshold is consecrated. When you finish, do not just walk away. Stand before your door and declare with authority, "This is my gate, my border, my covenant line. From this moment, no darkness will cross it. Angels guard this place. The fire of God surrounds this threshold. From here on, I live in divine peace." Then walk away with confidence, knowing your house is no longer open to attack. It is sealed in the Spirit, and your doorway now speaks protection into the unseen world. After you perform this act with faith, things will begin to shift. You may not see instant change, but the atmosphere will respond. A heavy weight will lift. The home will feel lighter. Delays will start to break. Arguments will stop. Restless nights will turn to peaceful sleep. That is the first sign that the sprinkling has worked. It neutralizes hidden battles and releases peace into your home. Many people have testified of this. Some said that the same people who were plotting evil against them suddenly stopped visiting. Others said strange dreams ended right away. One woman shared how she found a dead lizard at her entrance the very next day, a clear sign that something dark had been destroyed at the gate. These are not accidents. They are signs that spiritual forces have been confronted and driven out. You may also face pushback. Sometimes right after sprinkling, you may experience resistance in dreams or confusion in your day. Do not fear. That only proves that access has been denied. The enemy is upset because the gate has been closed. Keep declaring protection daily. Faith and consistency keep the covering strong. Another sign that your act has worked is restoration. Blocked areas of your life, finances, peace, relationships will begin to flow again. It is like clearing a blockage. Blessings that were circling without settling will finally enter. Why? Because the gate is now open to heaven but locked to hell. The door that once invited curses is now filled with divine light. You will also notice that some people avoid your home after sprinkling. They will stop showing up without reason. Some will not call anymore. This is not rejection. It is divine separation. Their spirits cannot enter your gate because the atmosphere has shifted. You have not only blocked witchcraft, you have broken the chain of evil access. God has put a hedge around your door, and only those carrying light can pass without resistance. Strange noises will stop too. That knocking at night with no one there, that shadow near your window, that sense of being watched, it will all vanish. Those were monitoring spirits. Now they have been pushed back. The enemy who once stood at your threshold will now tremble. Your door is no longer ordinary. It has become holy ground, and no demon dares step into holy ground without facing divine judgment. Your children will sleep peacefully. Your spouse will be calmer. The home will carry lighter energy. This is not just in the mind. This is real spiritual alignment. The atmosphere of your home mirrors the strength of your gates. When you guard the gates, your entire household benefits. Joy returns. Conversations become sweeter, tension leaves, the house feels alive with peace. This is the reward of obedience. Some curses break slowly, others break immediately, but every act of sprinkling weakens the hold of the enemy. Never underestimate the power of repeating these actions. Just as darkness repeats rituals to strengthen spells, you must repeat your acts of faith to strengthen your covering. Every time you sprinkle, you announce to the spirit world that you are still alert, still covered, and still standing. And demons fear people who remain watchful. With time, you will also grow more sensitive to spiritual activity. You will begin to notice who carries light and who carries darkness as you guard your doorway. Your spirit becomes sharper. God will start to whisper things to you. He will alert you before danger shows up. He will uncover people's real motives before they even step into your space. That is what happens when your gate is covered, your ears open. You are no longer spiritually asleep. You are awake and equipped. This is the time not just to survive spiritual attacks, but to stop them before they start. Stopping them is better than only seeking deliverance later. Sprinkling your doorway in faith is like putting a no trespassing sign against the forces of darkness. It says, I know my identity. I know what I carry, and I know how to protect it. You don't have to be a prophet to stay covered. You just need to be prepared. And now that you have been given the knowledge, the next step is to act. Now that this truth has touched your spirit, do not delay. Do not treat it like another message you'll think about someday. Move now. You have prayed. You have fasted. You have wept. But now is the moment to take action. Sprinkling your doorway may appear ordinary, but it is a holy instruction, a divine secret that was always hidden in plain sight. It is not only about the materials, it is about obedience. God often chooses the simple to confuse the complicated, and if you follow this strategy, your whole household will witness breakthrough. Go and gather what you need. Get your salt, prepare your herbs, burn your incense with prayer and keep the ashes. Crush your bay leaves. Speak over each ingredient before you use it. Consecrate your hands. Speak words over your entrance. Do not wait for people to give approval. Heaven already gave approval. Authority has been placed in you. Walk in it. Declare war, not inside your living room, but at the doorway. And when you stand there in faith, demons will know you are not spiritually asleep anymore. Share this truth with someone who is always under attack. Share it with someone whose home never feels calm. Share it with the one whose doorway is spiritually open without them even realizing it. Be the reason their home gets secured. Do not keep this wisdom only to yourself. The enemy thrives in silence. But once light shows up, darkness runs away. Let this word spread. Let it move through towns, cities, villages, houses, and altars. Let every home that hears it become a place of rest, not torment. If this message has touched your heart deeply, comment and say, "My home is covered." Let that comment be your public statement of faith. You are not just typing words. You are activating something. You are declaring to God, to his angels, and to the unseen realm that you are no longer blind. You are no longer careless. You are no longer unguarded. You now understand how to cover your gate, and no curse, no spell, no witch, no evil power shall ever cross into your sanctuary again. Let your doorway become a place of spiritual authority. Let it speak louder than your words of prayer. Let it carry the fragrance of obedience. A doorway that is spiritually sealed is like a covenant. Witches cannot touch what has been marked with divine light. Speak over your entrance often. Place oil on it if needed. Sweep it while praying. Sprinkle it boldly. These are not empty rituals. These are living reminders that your house is under divine rule. We do not fear darkness. We shine light on it. We do not run from curses. We overturn them, and we do not ask the enemy for pity. We declare war at the door. That is what you have just been trained to do, and now it is your turn to rise up. Take this action with full seriousness. Turn your entrance into a holy altar, an opening where demons will not dare to come near, a gate where blessings enter and curses are forced back. You are the keeper of the gate, and now you carry the keys. Speak this each morning if you need to. My doorway is covered. My home is blessed. My threshold is holy. No evil will cross it. No curse will land here. No witchcraft will succeed. I sprinkle peace. I declare protection. I activate fire. Repeat it until your spirit fully believes. Repeat it until the enemy retreats. Repeat it until your home shines with the presence of God. And if you ever start to forget, come back again. Listen to this message once more. Let the words soak into your spirit and stir up your authority. Now rise, woman of faith. Rise, man of courage. Take your salt, take your ashes, take your herbs, take your position. Stand firmly at your doorway. Mark it with faith. Sprinkle it with boldness. Declare it with power. You are not weak. You are not abandoned. You are chosen. You are protected. You are covered. And no enemy will cross your threshold. From this day onward, your entrance speaks. It speaks protection. It speaks peace. It speaks power. This is Maya's Watchtower, where truth meets healing and wisdom calls forth restoration.